Hello, welcome back. Today's video is going to be about the end of the year book tag, which is super exciting. This is the first book tag I'm gonna do, and yeah, I'm so excited about it. So there are 6 questions in the book tag, and as usual, I've written them all down because I'm just looking for an excuse to make a list. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get started and see what those 6 questions are. Number 1. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish before the end of the year? So yes, I don't technically DNF books, which is ridiculous, I know, but I just feel bad. And so basically what happens when I'm not interested in reading something I've started is that I put it aside and I lie to myself that I'm gonna finish it at some point, and I never do. Which means that I've always got like 15 books just at various stages of progress, kind of. But there are only 2 books which I've started this year which I really want to finish before the end of the year, and these are 1, Mexican Gothic, which I started last month, and I got to I think 70%, and I just didn't have any desire to like continue on with the story, and I really want to finish it because it was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and I just want to know if the ending is gonna be worth the slow plot, because it was so slow, like nothing happened, it was repetitive, and I don't know, like I didn't enjoy it that much, and maybe the ending will make up for it, maybe it won't, but I want to finish it just so I know for certain. That's one, and the second one is The Merciful Crow, which I'm 100 pages in. I think I'll tell you exactly how many. Exactly 102 pages in, and I started reading it. I was enjoying it a lot, and then one day I just kind of forgot to pick it back up, and haven't picked it back up since. I don't know what happened. I think that I started reading something else and I got distracted and I just left this. But it was super interesting, so I'm definitely going to finish it at some point. I just haven't found the right moment yet, but I want to finish this before the end of the year. So these are the 2 books. Question number 2. Let's see. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So I'm not sure if this question is meant as a recommendation or a book that I want to read that's autumnal and is going to transition me into the end of the year. I don't understand it that well, but I do. So if we're talking about a recommendation, I have 2 recommendations for you guys. One of them is Bonecryer's Moon, which in my opinion gives off very autumnal vibes with the theme. So basically this is about a group of women who ferry the souls of the dead, and if they don't do that, the souls of the dead are gonna come feast upon the living. So basically their job is super important and it brings balance to the world, and the whole setting is in a forest basically. So this to me is very autumnal, so anything foresty, definitely autumnal vibes. So we have witches, we have magic, we have the souls of the dead, and we have a forest. So this is very autumnal read, and it's quite entertaining. It's definitely not a heavy read, so I quite recommend it. I only gave it 3 stars because it wasn't anything special, but it was a very entertaining read. Like I flew through it, even though it's, let's see how many pages it's like 450 pages, but like it reads very quickly, so it's a good read if you want a good time. And if we're talking about a book that I haven't read yet but I want to read, that's the Camelot Betrayal, which is book 2 in the Camelot Rising series. It's coming out in November, and it's definitely giving me autumn vibes because it's a retelling of Arthurian legend, and again it takes place, like there is this magical forest which is very dangerous, and the advancement of the forest means the death of civilization. we can summarize it that way. So definitely giving me autumn vibes because of the forest. I don't know what is it with me in forests, but definitely when I see a forest or I read a book that's about a forest, I think autumn. That's it. That's it. So yes, The Camelot Betrayal is a book that I haven't read yet, but I want to read, and I think it's going to be a nice transition into the end of the year. So that was for question 2. Now, question number 3. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? Yes, a lot of new releases. And I'm going to cheat and list 5 because I just couldn't pick one. So A Sky Beyond the Storm, that's the final book in the Ember in the Ashes series. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I think that it doesn't need an introduction, but this is gonna be the final book. I cannot wait to see how Elias and Elias' story... Oh wow, that was very repetitive, Elias and Elias's. So Elias and Elias's story ends, as well as Helen's. I absolutely love all the characters. I'm super excited to see how the story ends, and I really hope that it won't rip our hearts out, because it seems that we won't... I don't know, like I'm super afraid that we won't get a happy ending, but I don't know. So that's one book. Then I already mentioned The Camelot Betrayal. The first book was The Guinevere Deception, and I really loved it. It's a retelling of Arthurian legend, but focuses heavily on Guinevere, and in this version Guinevere is a witch, which is amazing, and I really enjoyed this retelling. I think it's very underrated. Then we have These Violent Delights, which is coming out at the end of November, I think November 17th. Yes, November 17th, I've written it all down. So These Violent Delights is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet set in 1920s Shanghai, and say no more. Like this is absolutely enough for me to want to read this book the moment it comes out. Next, another new book that I cannot wait for is A Deal with the Elf King, which is gonna be obviously an elf book based, kind of. So there is this village, and the Elf King always goes to this particular village to pick his bride, and the new Elf King goes to this village and picks Luella, who's gonna be our protagonist, to be his wife. And we're gonna see, this is gonna have the, it seems, arranged marriage trope, so I'm quite excited about it. And this is gonna be a part of a new series. However, from what I understand, each book is gonna focus on different characters, so you can basically read it as a standalone, which is very exciting. So I think these are like on... Oh no, and one more, The Notorious Virtues. This is the first book in the new series of Owen Hamilton, who wrote Rebel of the Sands trilogy. And this new series, The Notorious Virtues, is gonna be about this very powerful family. Basically, they control all the money and all the power in the kingdom, I suppose, in the country they live in. And the matriarch of that family dies, and there is a competition to see who's gonna be the next matriarch or patriarch of that family. And it sounds super interesting. From what I see of the names, it sounds like it's gonna be German inspired, because like all the names are German sounding. So quite exciting. Like we don't see a lot of German inspired books in fantasy, so it seems really interesting. So yeah, these were the 5 books that on top of my mind, and based on the list I've made, so not on the top of my mind, but based on the list that I made, I'm the most excited for. They're coming out before the end of the year. So question number 4, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Okay, so definitely Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, which I started last night. I am crazily excited about it. And finally, Queen of Vaults. Yeah, we're seeing a trend here with all those titles. But yeah, Queen of Vaults is the final book in the Ace of Shades series. I'm super excited about it. I still haven't ordered it. I don't know why I haven't ordered it. And the other 2 books, as I said, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, I've already started it, and Kingdom of the Wicked, I'm waiting for my copy to arrive. So super excited about those 3 books. I'm definitely gonna read them before the end of the year. Next question. Number 5. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite of the year? that question is a bit weird, because if it could shock me, like if I expect it to be my favorite, why would it shock me? But whatever. But I have the perfect book for that, and it's Kingdom of the Wicked. Based on the synopsis alone, it seems like this book could be an all-time favorite. Like, it's everything I could wish for in a book. However, I really did not like this author's debut series. I only read Stalking Jack the Ripper, like the first book in the series. I gave it like 2 stars. I did not enjoy it at all. And so I don't know, like on one hand, Kingdom of the Wicked sounds absolutely amazing. On the other hand, I did not enjoy this author's writing whatsoever. So I don't know, like it could be an all-time favorite if, I don't know, I'm torn. We're gonna see, but it's definitely the one book that could shock me into becoming a favorite. And that was for question number 5. And the last question is, have you started making reading plans for 2021? So basically, unlike normal people who try to kind of expand their reading tastes and each year set goals like, I want to read more nonfiction, or I want to read more classics, or stuff like that. I don't do that. I stick to the genres that I like. So the only goals that I set for myself are the number of books that I want to read, which really depends. Like for this year, for example, I had set a lower goal than normally. I had set a goal of 75 books because I wanted to focus more on my writing and more on like other projects that I had in mind. But then the pandemic happened, and I got stuck at home for months on end, and so I read a lot, and I don't know, so for next year I will probably strive to read like 80 or 90 books. I don't know, we're gonna see. I suppose that I won't have as much time to read as I did this year, so I'll set a lower goal. But yeah, that's the one thing. And the other thing that I really want to do is not to force myself to read books solely because of the hype surrounding them if I'm not interested in the book itself. Like, obviously I read a lot of hype books, but because I'm interested in them. But sometimes in the past, that happened quite often. I read a lot of books solely because they were very hyped and I wasn't necessarily interested in them, and that never ended well. So these are like the 2 goals that I will set for myself, I think. And that's about it for now. Maybe I'll think of something else as the end of the year comes closer, but so far this is it. Let me know what your reading plans for 2021 are, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!